Hey guys, how's it going? In today's video, I'm gonna highlight some really cool videos that I saw for like August 16, 2018. This could be a video that I saved for like future date, but or maybe I'll release tomorrow. I haven't decided yet, but it's like the most interesting video on Midas Letter ever. The Canopy from Bruce Linton from Canopy's there, and Cam Batley, and the whole entire the whole entire video is on basically Aurora and Canopy, and it's a must watch. I found it very entertaining. I watched through it probably twice now because I want to try to get out some interesting points for you guys, and you guys should check out the entire video for yourself. So let's begin.
Constellation Brands just agreed to invest $4 billion US,
with a B,
5 billion Canadian, into Canopy Growth Corp.
Yes,
effectively taking control of the company, but without replacing management.
Right, so takes them to 38%, I think. But with warrants, they have the option to acquire majority control of Canopy, if I'm correct about that. And congratulations to Bruce and Canopy for that. That's a very exciting development.
You bet. It gives them a $25 billion valuation because the purchase price was essentially a 37% premium to the closing price of the last 20 days, which was remarkable, not just for Canopy, not just for Constellation, but for the entire industry. All the boats were lifted by this tidal event.
Well, it's not just about the boats being lifted. I mean, obviously that's nice because the sector's been kind of soft through the summer, so it's nice that, that everybody's gotten green based on this big pull from Constellation. But more importantly, it's validation, and we keep using that word, but the validation is that this is indeed going to be a big, grown-up, powerful, and wealthy industry on a global basis. And let's emphasize, Constellation is not putting billions with a B into a cannabis company based on the Canadian market. And this is what you and I have been talking about for some time, that everybody's excited about consumer legalization, as we should be. It's a big deal in Canada, but it's just the start, and the real story is much, much bigger. But it's also validation that who are going to be the global leaders. And this is something else that you and I have been talking about for some time. The leading Canadian companies are going to be the global leaders. We have built up an expertise, a capacity, plus the capitalization to be able to take this worldwide. And so this is just the first of what I suspect will be a number of very positive developments. There are going to be a lot of catalysts coming our way shortly.
Yeah. So the big question that everybody out there who's watching this wants me to ask you
am I going to be able to answer it?
Well, this is the thing. There's no doubt there's an answer. Is it the answer that everybody wants? We shall see. But where is Aurora's giant $5 billion transaction on the timeline in the future, and with what kind of an entity? Like, so everybody's thinking that Aurora is the next logical partner for a major brand in adult consumables, whether it's in the pharma side, whether it's in the alcohol side, the tobacco side. There are so many different areas where people are, sharpening their pencils and figuring out, how do we get exposure to this nascent industry that is transforming economies, not just not just individuals. So what would you say to that?
First of all, it's a very logical question. We have the second largest market cap. We probably have the largest international footprint, certainly in Europe. So it's a very logical question to ask. I'm going to choose my words carefully, as I've done in the past when asked questions like this, because first of all, they're hypothetical. Second of all, they're forward-looking. And third, I don't think you should be talking about business development until it's fully baked. The other way can get people into serious troubles and companies into serious trouls. And
Elon Musk, as an example?
Without further comment, and not wanting to throw shade on anybody. And actually, that's an individual for whom I have a great deal of admiration in some ways. But it is safe to say, repeating what I've said before, that we have talked to absolutely everybody who's interested in this space. So some of it is technologies and companies that we might be interested in. Others would be prospective or potential partners who are approaching us based on our presence, our footprint, our technology, and our expertise. And we spend a very great deal of our time every week having those conversations. That's about what I can say now safely without ending up incarcerated, which is something I do like avoiding.
Okay, so let's continue the hypothetical discussion.
So, if I had a question that was asked to me, if I had a choice of what company that I would like Aurora to partner up with and have an investor in, it's Coke. If Coke was to invest into Aurora, I would be so happy, and it probably might pull the attention of Warren Buffett. He might be like, holy crap, Coke's investing into Aurora, and then Warren Buffett might invest into Aurora, but Warren Buffett's more of a value investor, so if he doesn't see the numbers, he might not, but Coke might change his mind. But still, Coke would be my best choice if I had to pick for a partner. That's just me though. Okay, moving on, I guess.
And Europe's going to be a fantastic market.
Sure. Okay. So this would explain why your the quantity of short position against Aurora has halved in the last reporting period.
It's come way down,
and is now at just less than 7% of the float, which.
And that's significantly lower than some other producers.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of short covering coming up for short strategists, don't you think, in this space?
I do think so.
Yeah.
I do think so. If last year is any guide, what we're likely to see this fall is perhaps something like what we saw last year, which is a kind of a run-up in the cannabis stocks in the whole sector in the fall. And of course, there are multiple catalysts driving us in that direction.
Right. All right.
I had to bring that up. So, Aurora was saying that they think the entire sector, well, Cam Batley was saying that the entire sector is going to be run up in the fall. So, I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping, because he probably has more insight in the industry, he probably see more catalysts, more news that might help the stock price pop up in the short term. So, that was very interesting. I thought I'd bring that up to you guys, that Cam Batley said that. But don't keep your hopes up too much. Try to think of this as more of a long term. But short term, you guys could be making a lot of money if you buy in right now. Not an advice to buy. So if you make the choice to buy in, you could make a lot of money on the gamble. The fact that Aurora is going to be moving up quite a bit in the fall time. Same with Canopy. So, yeah. Next up, this one.
Bruce, the Constellation deal. Now they've given you a valuation of, what is it? 38%. Sorry, whoa, let's back up here.
So it was about a more than 50%.
51.2% premium to the average closing price on August 14th.
Yeah.
They are 38% owners with the rights to buy up to 51%?
Up to 50. So the way it's structured is they were at 16.4% because if they exercise their 2 warrants, which they don't currently have access to both pieces, but if they did exercise, that would bring them to 16.4%.
Okay.
So they were buying a little bit less than 25% of the company for a little bit more than $5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a next tranche, which can move them from 38 and change to almost 50%.
Okay.
And that's at a premium above this premium.
Oh.
And then if they want to go to 55%, and throughout there they have the preemptive rights, meaning if we go and buy some, extractor in Outer Mongolia and use shares, they can actually top up to their pro rata position. And we have mechanisms if I want to do secondary or alternate financings of how they get to play.
Wow.
And then the final tranche is what I think I invented it. It's called a rainbow, which is they have the right to purchase up to 5% from the Treasury on a 5-day VWAP after they've exercised the 2 parts before. And so what I do is I get their fuel now, and we spend, and we grow, and we dominate. And then they take another bite, and I get about another $5 billion. We spend, and we grow, and we dominate.
Whoa.
And then you have this rainbow, which is priced at whatever the stock would be worth on a 5-day VWAP. And the reason I call it a rainbow is, and I actually call it a rainbow for several days. It caused some problems for the people doing, how do you analyze something that doesn't have a future price? But the point was that I and others, as independent shareholders, we want to know you got to go all the way to there at whatever price is 5 days, and there's no cap on what that would be.
Yeah.
And so rainbows typically are associated with no specific location and a pot of gold. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was a good rainbow.
Well, Suzanne, put me on the bid for 10,000 more shares, please.
You guys should hear that whole section about how that deal of Constellation brand worked out with Canopy, and yeah, I thought it was important, so I put it in the video. Okay, next up is this Twitter page from CNBC.
Beer maker to get a toehold in cannabis.
We're creating a fourth leg in our business, which is the cannabis business. And number two, that this is going to be a $200 billion+ market by 2030, and Constellation's really through Canopy taking a first mover advantage of that. So we expect to take a pretty significant share of that $200 billion industry.
Analyst reaction appears to be mixed. Cowen saying in a note, "We think the premium paid, as well as the size of Constellation's investment, reflects the long-term attractiveness of the global cannabis opportunity." But Tim Ramey cut Constellation's price target from $285 to $265, saying the company will have significant near-term impacts to its P&L. I also talked to
if you guys want to watch more of that video, it's on CNBC Twitter, or maybe you can try to find it on YouTube somewhere. I have no idea. I just found it on my Twitter. I thought it was interesting, so I put it in. So let's continue on with the video.
Side, as the Ford government has also announced that they are going to be moving to some sort of a private model in liquor as well.
Right.
Again, details to be known, and whatever the government chooses to do in terms of retail regime for cannabis and liquor, we'll be ready if we're able. Very exciting for us.
Yeah. In Nova Scotia, the liquor store is attached to there's one side is the liquor store, one side is the cannabis store, which I thought was interesting because I thought federally the mandate was to not have liquor for sale where cannabis was for sale.
Yeah, no, that's the government and the government, so I guess they can do what they want. We were certainly anticipating, we have a lot of locations in Alberta, and if we could have demised a wall down the middle and had half the store doing one, half the other, it would have been more cost effective, but that's not permitted in Alberta. So, and some municipalities you're not allowed to you have to be separation of certain distance between a cannabis and a liquor. So it is what it is. We're fine. Yeah.
Right. What was the last dividend you paid?
We paid about 4% yield.
4%.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes it an income stock, doesn't it?
Well, it is a bit, and it traditionally has been, and I believe a lot of our shareholders, do buy it for the income, but going forward, it's a very heavy growth. I mean, the company is not well capitalized till about a year ago, and so it was able to renovate stores, to do things on a very gradual basis, because just as capital became available, that's completely changed now. So we have the capital to grow the best parts of the liquor business, and obviously to expand into cannabis in Alberta, BC, hopefully Ontario, and any province where we're able to, because we have the expertise is there. We have the back of house already in Edmonton.
Right.
150 people who know how to run stores and who have all a day-to-day hard work. That's all set up.
Wow.
Adding 10 or 20 or 40 more isn't that difficult.
Right. So with Aurora rather as a major shareholder in the company, the government chooses which suppliers are eligible to be chosen from. But there's obviously going to be an inclination on your part to carry Aurora or feature Aurora products.
Absolutely, and we're proud to do so. We believe, we've done our diligence as well, and we had other choices of licensed producers who've gone down the road with, and we were thrilled to have Aurora be the one that we finally came to terms with in February, because it's Alberta's Alberta, hometown, just down the road, and they've got these world-class sky class facilities which they're building. I was in the one in Edmonton just last week, and it's just mind-boggling, the quality and the consistency and the part of the market that they're going to be able to provide. At the end of the day, retail's retail. You can't tell customers what to buy.
Right.
They'll tell you what they want to buy.
Right.
So you target segments of markets and different, but for the quality and for the higher end products and for the best of the best and the consistency, Aurora, in our view, will be the market leader. Our stores are going to be called Aurora.
Right.
So, so we will obviously, really try to feature those products, and Albertans in particular likes to support hometown.
Right.
And but we'll also be a house of brands. We'll carry any products that fit the demographics of our customers that our customers wish, which Aurora is absolutely fine with, and that encourages.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so that's interesting. So I didn't realize that Aurora is actually already
Retail.
Sure. So are these stores going to be good to go October 17th?
You know what? It's all about development permits in municipalities, and every municipality has put a different regime and is taking a different length of time to decide who can put stores up and where. So it's really based on that. If it was just left up to market forces, if we were selling running shoes, yes, we would have them all up. It's not. So it's taking time. We'll probably have maybe 4 or 5 on October 17th, just by way of the permits that we've been able to get going. But we'll have, in Alberta you can only have 37 any one company in the first year, so they've just restricted so no one gets too big too fast. And we anticipate we'll have all 37 up and running sometime early in the new year.
Wow. It's a fascinating story, and I plan to actually become an investor, I can tell you. So it's been great to talk to you, James.
Well, thank you so much.
And we will be happy to have you back on October 17th or thereabouts.
I gotta say that this is not a recommendation to buy, but I think liquor stores stock is on sale. It might have a rise maybe in the new year with all the cannabis stocks, but I mean, is Aurora the better investment than liquor stores? I think so, but still, liquor stores pay a dividend and safe, and they already have a proven business model. So, at least this is my opinion. It's not a recommendation to buy. Okay, next up is this one.
So you've got quite a large interest in a company called Australis, and from the external optics, one might even say that Australis has superior access to capital by virtue of Aurora's shareholding. And so what is the status of deprohibition in the United States from where you guys sit in the industry?
Do you want to take a first crack at this? Because let's have our U.S. guest.
Yeah,
sure.
Start with the American.
I mean, I think that the political climate around legalization is far behind the public mindset around legalization. I mean, every single poll every year, it's just increasing in support of decriminalization, legalization. I mean, medically, the numbers are 70+% of the population in the United States is in favor of medical. Those numbers are now above 60% for legalization for adult use. So.
Coming out, like 60% of the U.S. population wants to have recreational legalized. That's a pretty big population, and I think Donald Trump's gonna capitalize on that to try to win the next election by legalizing pot in the United States. So the United States election is coming soon, and we might hear some news that might be a catalyst for legalized cannabis federally in the United States, which would really help all stocks, really, especially Canopy stock, because Canopy is partners with Constellation Brand, and Constellation Brand is they have a really good business connection in the United States, and they're a well-established company, so that's going to be a very interesting partner. So Canopy really doesn't have to touch the United States like Aurora because Canopy has Constellation brand, which is already an existing business in the United States, which will help them break into the United States market with their products and branding. At least this is my opinion. I could be wrong about Canopy, so.
I mean, with 70%, 60% of the country behind supporting this, the legislation has just been very slow. As far as predicting when things are going to turn, it's really, I don't know that anyone particularly knows. I'd be curious, you know, just from you have boots on the ground kind of all over the U.S., probably working with some legislators, I would imagine. And I think that the Democrats have been largely more inclined to move this direction, but I think there's also a lot of pressure now on politicians. So people who are getting reelected or running for office for the first time, they are starting to understand that the public is very much behind this, and they need to start shifting their views. Otherwise, they're going to lose majority of the vote.
It's becoming a mainstream electoral issue. Just to be clear, we are not lobbying in the U.S.
Okay.
That's not our plan. Okay. Our plan is to spin off our U.S. assets, and that's why we're creating this company, Australis Capital Corporation, which very shortly we're going to be naming the record date for that. So people who want to participate in Australis as Aurora shareholders, who are going to receive, based on a ratio, they're going to receive a share and a warrant in Australis. If they want to participate, they've got to move fairly quickly, but we'll be announcing that record date fairly shortly, and very soon after that, listing on the CSE, so that we can participate, or our shareholders rather, can participate in the U.S. market. The reason why it's so interesting is that in aggregate, the U.S. is by far the largest cannabis market in the U.S., but in aggregate, it's a fractured market though, and that's what's so fascinating, and that's part of our investment theory here, is that because it's a fragmented market, because it's not a federally legal market, it's not one single national market, there are a number of assets that are undervalued, we think significantly undervalued, that we can, through Australis, we can acquire these assets at very attractive valuations and turn them into something that will be much bigger down the line. And of course, the whole plan involves this back-in right that will allow us, should the regulations change over the next 10 years, to back into 40% ownership of Australis. So we're planning ahead. We're keeping our eyes very, very close on the U.S. market, and it's where we want to be. It's where we plan to be in the future, subject to U.S. laws and regulations.
So, from what I'm hearing, then So what's happening with all the cannabis waste now? So you've got quite a large interest in a company called Australis, and from the external optics, one might even say that Australis has superior access to capital by virtue of Aurora's shareholding. And so what is the status of So what's happening with all the cannabis waste now?
It's all being sent to your house at the end of the week.
I was wondering what that big pile was I had to climb every day to get to the front door.
Yeah, so like I say, some of it is incinerated, and there are challenges with that. A lot of it is composted at municipal compost locations, but that's problematic too, because any
Oops. I was supposed to show off some Micron, talking about Micron, how Micron's very busy at, it's in here somewhere. I messed up when I wrote down the timelines, but I've already gone way too much of this video, but there's some really interesting Micron talks in here, and I gotta say that Micron's on sale. Maybe I'll pick up some more if it stays the same tomorrow. Yeah. I don't know. I hope it drops. If it drops, I'll definitely buy some more. But Micron's very busy, and they have a lot of people from the United States, all over the world, calling them for their technology. And there's a lot of interesting talks about that in this video. So it's another like recommendation, but not like I'm not telling you to buy. I'm just telling you that it's a recommendation, but I might be buying some if it drops tomorrow, even if it stays the same. But if it goes up, I might leave it alone. because I was a bag holder, I lost quite a bit because I could have sold out some on here, but I didn't. I just left it alone. Now I have to wait till the stock rises, if it rises, but I think it will. Anyways, this video has been long enough. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, please give me a thumbs down. Subscribe for future updates, and have a great day. Bye.